to make their case. We would then normally be asking any responsible authorities or interested parties present to make their case. We don't have any responsible authorities at the moment, so that'll make life easier. We do have representations from interested parties, but I don't think we have any interested parties present, but I'll just check that in a moment. In which case we will go through the process, having had the hearing report presented, listening to the applicant. We will ask such questions as we feel are appropriate, and at the end of that process, the applicant and licensing officers will withdraw, and the subcommittee will make its decision. Can I just ask those of you who are not on the committee to just introduce yourselves so we know what roles you are? Can I start with Andrew?
Yeah, of course. Good afternoon, and thank you. Yeah, my name's Andrew Brown. I'm the business development manager or area manager for the Leather Bottle. So yeah, I work for Greene King.
Thank you. Jim?
Yeah, hello, I'm Jim Archer. I'm lead risk manager for the southern part of Greene King, so I deal with any sort of health and safety or regulatory issues that we may have or challenges we may have.
Lovely, thank you. Alec?
Hi, I'm Alec, licensing officer for Woking Borough Council.
Rachel?
Good afternoon, I'm Rachel Lucas. I am legal advisor to the panel this afternoon.
And we do have, and Kieran's on now. Kieran, could you just introduce yourself and say what your role is, please?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kieran. I'm a licensing manager at Wokingham Council.
Okay. And just so that everybody's aware, we also have, as you can see on your screen, we have an HR work experience. We have a work experience person who's attending the council today, who is basically following and learning the process, but he won't be contributing during this hearing. So that's just who the H is on your screens. So thank you very much. We'll start the process. As I'm sure you're all aware, the purpose is any arguments and applications must only go to the licensing objectives, which I'm sure you're all aware of those: prevention of crime and disorder, public safety, prevention of public nuisance, and the protection of children from harm. So can I start by asking Alec, as a licensing officer, to present the hearing report, please?
Thank you. Okay, so members are requested to determine the application for a variation to a premises licence in accordance with section 35(3) of the Licensing Act 2003, having regard to representations received and the requirement to promote the 4 licensing objectives. The purpose of this report is to provide the relevant information for the subcommittee to consider and determine the application from the Spirit Pub Company Limited for a variation to a premises licence at the Old Leathern Bottle, 221 Barkham Road, Wokingham, RG41 4BY. The following options are open to the Licensing and Appeals Subcommittee: to grant the application in full and on the terms and conditions contained within the application, to include any applicable mandatory conditions; to grant the application as above, modified to such an extent as considered appropriate to satisfy any relevant representations and promote the licensing objectives, or to reject the application. A premises licence is required in respect of any premises where it is intended to conduct one or more of the 4 licensable activities, these being the sale of alcohol, the supply of alcohol in respect of a club, regulated entertainment, and the provision of late night refreshment. The application was submitted by Spirit Pub Company Services Limited in respect of the Old Leathern Bottle, 221 Barkham Road, Wokingham, RG41 4BY. The applicant has applied to amend the authorised timings for the sale of alcohol and the opening hours of the premises as follows. For the supply of alcohol, they're proposing to amend the existing hours of 11 AM until midnight, Monday to Saturday, and 12 PM till midnight, Sunday, to 9 AM till midnight, Monday to Sunday, and on New Year's Eve from the end of permitted hours on New Year's Eve until the start of permitted hours on New Year's Day. And for the opening hours, from the opening hours of 10 a.m. until 1 a.m. Monday to Saturday, and 11 a.m. to 1 a.m. on Sunday, propose changing to 9 a.m. until 1 a.m. Monday to Sunday, and from the end of permitted hours on New Year's Eve until the start of permitted hours on New Year's Day. The application has been properly made and all procedures correctly followed. The application has been attached as Appendix A in the pack. Photographs of the blue site notices in place and a copy of the newspaper advert are attached as Appendix B. Premises is a public house with a car park and garden. The current premises licence is attached as Appendix C. The operating schedule is completed by the applicant and contains additional measures to illustrate how they propose to promote the 4 licensing objectives as required by provision of the Licensing Act 2003. The applicant has not proposed any changes to their licence conditions. Responsible authorities included in consultation are Thames Valley Police, Royal Berkshire Fire and Rescue, Environmental Health, Trading Standards, Public Health, the Local Planning Authority, the Local Safeguarding Children Board, and Home Office Immigration Enforcement. No objections have been received by any of the responsible authorities. There has been one representation against the application from an other person with concerns over noise and public nuisance arising from the proposed extension of hours for the sale of alcohol and the opening of the premises throughout New Year's Eve until commencement of permitted hours on New Year's Day. The representation is attached as Appendix D. Those that have made the representation have been informed of the time and date of the Licensing Appeals Subcommittee hearing and have been informed of their right to attend. In terms of legal considerations, conditions may only be attached to a premises licence where they are deemed appropriate for the promotion of the licensing objectives. They must be proportionate and not duplicate any existing provisions contained in other legislation. The justification behind a refusal or the attachment of conditions must be given to the applicant. The subcommittee is advised that any findings on any issues of fact should be on the balance of probabilities, and any decision should be based on the individual merits of the application. The subcommittee, in arriving at its decision, must have regard to the relevant provisions of national guidance and its own statement of licensing policy, and reasons should be given for any departure. There is a right of appeal to the Magistrates' Court within 21 days from the date of the applicant is notified of the decision of the Licensing Subcommittee. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you very much. In which case, I guess we turn it over to the applicant, which I assume probably means Andrew, you're probably going to present your case, I guess.
Yes, I'll start, and I'm sure Jim will step in if he feels I need support. The reason we put the application in initially was purely and solely so we are able to sell breakfast and serve breakfast to our guests currently on a weekend basis, including the Friday, so Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And for example, this is something we offer in all the pubs. In our brand is Chef and Brewer. We're part of sort of the Greene King wider family, but our brand Chef and Brewer is the brand I work for and the brand that the old leather bottle is part of. As part of that, the brand does again offer breakfast to guests Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and during the Christmas period we also do a breakfast with Santa for 4 occasions through December, which obviously we start at 9 in the morning because that is generally the accepted time for breakfast to be served from. Some places would do it earlier. For hotels, I've got, for example, start breakfast at 7 o'clock. So to enable us to trade breakfast effectively, serve guests, serve the children, and Santa as well. Actually, we wanted to draw the license earlier to 9 o'clock from where it is currently at 10 o'clock from a trading point of view. so we could offer that trade. This is not about pushing sales of alcohol at all. This is about offering a breakfast sale, but it just makes sense to obviously to extend the license as part of that process. It would give us the opportunity, for example, on Mother's Day, to do a sort of breakfast for all the mums and offer a glass of prosecco as part of that package. But again, we're not here to push the sale of alcohol at all as part of that process. And I guess I'd like to point out, in terms of the New Year's Eve piece as well, Chef and Brewer, and hopefully those of you that know the Leather Bottle appreciate we're not a lively pub with live music or discos. You know, we're a food-led business, and that's utterly our focus, and always will be, and I think always has been, to my knowledge. And we intend to keep it that way. I'd also add we also have a Christmas tree seller that plots with us over December, and obviously sells early morning. And it'd be great to be able to serve coffees and teas, etc., to people buying Christmas trees, which we can't do currently until 10 o'clock. Jim, would you add anything other than what I've just said?
No, it's a good summary there, and I think the important thing, one of the things I would note, is that it simplifies matters greatly if your premises license matches to your opening times. There's a lot of argument out there as to whether if you have an alcohol license that starts at a certain time of day, but you can open the pub earlier. There's always a bit of argument about whether it means you have to cover up your alcohol, or what other precautions you have to take to make sure that people don't even see alcohol really at that time of day. But this isn't an application to make the business into a rowdy drinkers' den for the white vans at 9 a.m. turning up on their way to site or whatever. Chef and Brewer quite simply isn't. It really isn't that kind of brand. The New Year's Eve extension on that as well. That actually simply brings it into line with what the vast majority of premises licenses in the country actually say. It's pretty much a standard term in most premises licenses to have that from the close of to open, or end of permitted hours to start permitted hours the following day. So again, it regularizes a position. Again, it's not intended to be something that we then go, oh, let's have some enormous parties at the pub. Wouldn't fit the brand, wouldn't fit the business operation.
Okay. We as we don't have any responsible authorities as other than ourselves, I guess, and no representors other than the if you like the email representation that we've had. I guess it's down really to us to ask questions, any questions that we have in our minds at this stage. For me, I'll start off, if I may. So just for my understanding, so you're planning on running breakfasts mostly Friday to Sunday, yes. But not during the rest of the week, but during Christmas, the breakfast with Santa, is that every day, or how do you plan?
Sorry, no, only on 4 occasions, on basically every Saturday until the 23rd.
Okay, right.
So I appreciate the 23rd is not a Saturday, but every Saturday and the 23rd. Sorry, so it's 4 occasions. Yeah.
I notice as well that a planning application has been made for the Chef and Brewer to put 5 rooms of accommodation in there. Is that it wasn't clear on the planning application, or is that what I read?
So and you're right, but my understanding is we don't own the premises, we lease the premises, and my understanding is that the owners of the premises have put that application in. That's not something, unless Jim tells me otherwise, but that's not something we've done as a company. That's the owners of the actual premises, the building themselves, that have gone ahead with that. So that's nothing to do with us.
But if they do get planning permission with that and add 5 rooms of accommodation, wouldn't that be leased or managed by yourselves?
They wouldn't be able to do it at the moment. It's part of our lease, I understand. So I think we believe it's future proofing. So down the road, if they were to take the premises back from us at some point, or if the lease expires, but if I'm honest, they haven't communicated that very well with us at this stage.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yes, it's not very helpful.
Okay, no.
Yeah.
This is therefore an aside question, but how long does your lease run for?
That's a very good question. I'd have to come back to you on that answer. I do not have that answer.
That's fine. It's probably not desperately relevant to this.
No, it's but it's some time yet. It's certainly not. It doesn't expire in a couple of years. It does. it goes on for a number of years. I'm aware of that.
Okay, and I'm going to show my ignorance here, and this possibly is a question that maybe Alec or Kieran might answer, because Jim, you mentioned that the New Year's Eve through to, well, 24 hours basically is a normal UK licensing, and I'm not aware of that. So perhaps Alec or Kieran, can you confirm if that's the case in other locations in Wokingham and as normal in the normal situation?
It's not something you see on all of them, but it's not unheard of. I did find a couple, the Great House in Sonning, for example, in a similar sort of level of development area. They're allowed to be open 24/7. In reality, I imagine that's not the case.
Well, the Great House is a hotel as well, isn't it?
Yeah, yes, which may be something to do with it. And the Good Companions, which is also a Greene King, I believe, that has the same condition about New Year's Eve. So it's not unheard of.
Okay.
Is that the Good Companions in Woodley?
Yes, yeah.
Thanks, Alex.
So the wording, I think it stems originally from some of the justices' licenses that used to get issued in the Magistrates' Court before the Licensing Act came in. So a lot of the pubs, when there was a conversion, when the Act first came in, a lot of conditions and a lot of times that they effectively converted over, they moved over. So we'll have a few pubs, and there'll be, and also nationally, as Jim's pointed out, there'll be quite a few pubs nationally that'll have a similar condition. I think the reality is, though, that a lot of pubs and a lot of operators won't make use to those hours, and I think really from both Jim and Andrew, we could probably hear more around the plans for New Year's Eve. I think the license itself provides an extension for around an hour for your post activities. In terms of the New Year's Eve events, I'd be interested myself in terms of what plans you have for how you've run New Year's Eve events there in the past, and if there's any changes to that. It's your application, sir. So we'd be interested to hear a little more.
So I think, as we mentioned, certainly in Sheffield Borough, we don't have big parties, or we're not. That's not our type of brand. But there are other pubs in Greene King that would do that are more like sort of lively venues. But certainly in Sheffield Borough and the Leather Bottle, we're not about that. Again, we are a food offering. So historically, certainly, in the last couple of years, the business we would have shut it maybe before midnight. Certainly this year, we don't plan on trading it any later than 12:30, and that would be for our local guests that want to come in, have essentially a quiet drink, celebrate the new year, and go home. It's nothing more than that. There's no discos. There's no, again, live music, anything like that. It's a nice social space to spend New Year's New Year's Eve if you're local to our business, and nothing more than that. I run 16 businesses for Greene King and Sheffield Borough. And half of those will shut at 10:30 because there's no trade at all for our type of business, and a few of those will trade to 12:30 again, just to support our locals and sort of basically say thank you to them for their businesses throughout the year.
Yeah, I can really picture that, Andrew. Thank you. And it's important to know that we don't have objections from environmental health, and we don't have any concerns raised from the police. It does come across as a slightly sort of sensible question to ask in terms of the need for changing those hours on New Year's Eve. As I read it, the license does come in around 1 a.m. I think it would be extended to. Would that be sufficient for you, or would you prefer clarity on the New Year's Eve day to be mentioned on the license? Is there a real need to have it as a 24 hours? Because I'm not getting that impression.
It's not It's not imperative. Again, I think as Jim said, we added it on there to just to make to clean it up, if you like, and bring it in line with most of our businesses across the UK and certainly on my area. But it's not imperative, because I can assure you I will never trade that pub past midnight on a New Year's Eve. There just isn't the trade for it, or the need for it, or the want for it.
Could I, if it be so bold there, then please, would it be sensible for me to provide an end time on the New Year's Eve days? So you have seasonal variations on your license, as you've mentioned. If we brought in a closing time of 1 a.m. or 1:30 a.m., would that be a sensible position or a sensible amendment to the application?
I'd absolutely be happy with that. Yeah. Again, if I'm honest, the New Year's Eve would be a nice to have. Our prerogative here really is the early morning, the breakfast piece, the 9 a.m. opening trading piece. That's the element that we're keen to have amended, so we can trade and sell breakfast. The New Year's Eve piece is it's a nice to have. So if that's the amendment, then I'll be really happy with that.
Okay.
Can I just ask a procedural thing? At the end of this, obviously, we'll be making a decision. Are we suggesting that we make a change to the application, or simply that we add that in as a condition when we do or don't grant this variation of license?
Councillor, you have an amendment to the application. It's an agreed amendment to the application.
Okay.
That may go somewhere to satisfying the representor, but obviously with the absence of that, it's for your own decisions.
Fine. So can I just reconfirm then that we'll be deciding, or when we separate out the members of the subcommittee, we'll be deciding on an application for a New Year's Eve license to go up until 1 a.m. Is that correct? Everybody. That's my understanding, is that what we will end up deciding on.
Was it?
Yeah, sorry, but I thought Kieran was saying that with this would be an agreed amendment.
That's not what the application says. It's for 24 hours.
Yeah. Okay, all right, fine. That's clarity. That's enough clarity. Thank you. Yes, she does. Thank you very much, Beth. Sorry, I hadn't seen it. Thank you.
I was looking at the other end of the day, actually, and wondering why you wanted to be able to serve alcohol at 9 o'clock, when normally I thought licensing hours ran from sort of mid-morning-ish.
I'll ask Jim to step in, but again, from my point of view, I guess operationally, the majority of all our businesses have the option to sell alcohol from 9 a.m. Now we won't. That's not something we will push, but it does give us the opportunity. For example, as I mentioned, if we were to do like a Mother's Day promotion, a breakfast for Mother's Day kind of thing, and that included a glass of prosecco, as a one-off treat, that would be the reason we'd use it. But again, of this 15 businesses I currently have serving breakfast from 9 on the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, alcohol is not something we push or sell predominantly. It is the breakfast piece, the food element.
You already serve breakfast though, don't you?
We do from 10, which
10?
is from 10, which is later than we'd like to sell it from.
I think that's right. I think you should be allowed to sell breakfast earlier.
Thank you. Yeah, that's our intention.
We'd like you to be earlier, but I don't see any reason to sell prosecco with it. That would put me off my bacon and eggs. But 9 o'clock certainly, I think, is very reasonable.
Okay, thank you.
But Beth, perhaps this is something we can discuss, because they don't need a license to sell their bacon and eggs.
No,
just to sell the alcohol. Or provide the alcohol to go with it.
Yeah, as I said, it is really a case of it simplifies matters greatly if your licensable hours match to your opening hours effectively.
Yes, I can see an argument in favour of that.
Thank you.
Can I just jump in just to check as well? Sorry. So with your opening hours, so you haven't got any residential there at all. So you don't have it's not like a hotel where you would have people staying overnight or bed and breakfast or anything like that.
It's just
Not at all.
just a standalone pub. Yeah,
that's great. Thank you.
So no problem. Thank you, Chris.
Do we have any further questions, Beth?
No, thank you.
Chris?
No, I'm all good.
From the applicant's point of view, is there anything final that you want to say?
No. Thank you for your time. It's been very interesting, but we appreciate having the opportunity to put our case forward. So thank you.
Yeah, and quite a nice
So
short
can we
meeting
just
as well.
check with Rachel that we've not missed anything?
You're muted, Rachel.
Unmute.
Classic.
Obviously, we don't have our objector here. I don't know if you want to, if Chair, you just want to allow his objections for the purposes of the video. They will, of course, be taken into account in your deliberations, but given that anyone watching this has a full picture, perhaps you could just read out that objection.
Okay, fine. Lucien, do you have that?
Or Lucianne could read it out. Anybody, I just feel it ought to be part of.
Fine.
Is it page 45 in the pack? Is that right?
I've got it to hand if that helps. Yeah.
Okay, in fact, I've got it, so I'll do it. So this is for, yes, we have a, it says, hi, I'm writing with regards to the above application which concerns me. This is a quiet residential area, and being a nearby resident, I'm concerned about public nuisance issues, particularly noise arising from these changes, arising from alcohol sales from 9 AM in the morning, as well as potentially being open through all of New Year's Eve to New Year's Day. I'm assuming we don't give the details of the actual individual.
The individual names are okay, but
yeah, they'll be public, I assume, anyway.
Yeah.
Fine. I think that's the conclusion of the open session, unless I've missed anything. In which case, the members of the subcommittee will retire, or in fact, we'll ask you gentlemen and ladies, if relevant, to leave, and we will consider our or make our decision known to you at a later stage.
Perfect.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you very much.